Hello, everybody, and welcome to Machtails from the Cantina Live, episode number 49. On tonight's show, agree to disagree. Strap yourselves in as we will talk about the show Ahsoka.
I have a bad feeling about this.
On the Jedi Council this evening, we have Brother Rich Brendel. He will be here to share a cheer and a beer. Show producer Todd Suds Sedlak, musician and good friend Glenn Nelson, good friend and from the Force within us, Kevin Lyle will also be joining the show. It is I, Chris Macht, the captain of this train wreck, and also the documentarian that brought you The Force Among Us, The Force Within Us, The Walkers Among Us, and the real fans of the saga. Sit back, crack open a cold one, smoke if you got 'em, and we are live inside the Wampa Cave. Let the tomfoolery and hijinks begin.
Kick out the jazz, motherfucker!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mocktails from the Cantina Live. I have zero support behind the board. It is just I, your host, Chris Macht, with some special guests, some really close friends. Man, let me thank these guests before they even come on, because I would not have the show tonight if it wasn't for them. Thank you to producer Todd Suds Sedlak for inspiring this evening. And thank you guys for your Patreon support, because again, I make it rock, but you make it roll. And I could not do this without you. So please join Mocktails on Patreon. The drinking word of the night tonight, because we were talking about Ahsoka, something that I love, but something that my guests are very subjective to. Is that the right word I want to use? I feel like they have very strong feelings about this show that are not very positive. So the drinking word tonight is going to be bad. Every time you hear the word bad, drink responsibly, only if you're over 21. Speaking about drinking, I would love to bring on my brother, Rich Brendel, for the usual segment. He's got a great streak going. He's got a better streak going than the Rays do in the postseason. Let's bring on brother Rich Brendel. Rich, I said Rich. See, I'm already drinking. I already had an old fashioned. I called you Rich because I think of Rich's britches every time I see that sign when I'm working.
Yeah, man.
You know? But hey, what are you drinking tonight, man? You bring
tonight,
positivity
well,
to this.
I've been drinking all fucking day long, man. Because I did Oktoberfest in Cedarburg, Wisconsin today. But tonight I'm drinking the Founders Four Giants Tropical Treasure. I've been drinking, it's a tropical IPA. I've been drinking Oktoberfest all day long, but figured I'd do something a little different. Because last time I toasted, I did it to an Oktoberfest, so doing something a little different. So
now, what are you cheersing to, though, brother? You always bring some really a lot of positivity and a lot of light into this segment, because this is the segment where you raise your glass in honor of someone or something, and it just makes us, like I said, cheers to that.
yeah. Okay, so I might stir up some controversy here.
That's okay. We got Kevin Lyle and good friend Glenn Nelson joining the show.
Yeah. Well, when I was in the green room and you kind of checked to see me in, and then I got out of there, Lyle was like, "Oh, you better not ever kick me out." You know, that's what was going on behind the scenes, because he's interviewed all the big guys and stuff. So I've always been kind of the little guy in the group, but in a fun way. So
hey, Rich, hey, man, wait, make no mistake. The green room in the business is Kevin knows this. All the people that he's interviewed, they go to the green room. You know, the green
Oh,
room
yeah.
on Machtails from the Cantina is no different than the green room that I like to think of in the business. So, man, you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just don't think the little guys get recognized enough. But so, cheers to the little guys and in honor of Oktoberfest, because I actually found out that my German heritage in my family goes a little bit deeper than I ever thought. But if you want to know more about that, look in the chats, in one of the chats from her, because that gets kind of controversial. But in honor of my German heritage and Oktoberfest, to everybody, may the Macht be with you.
Hey, cheers to that. Morgen die Macht mit dir sein.
Morgen die Macht, whatever the rest is. So, cheers.
Cheers, man. Cheers to you. Hey, Brother Rich, thank you again.
Good stuff.
Thank you again for joining the show, man. Be well and be safe, and I always look forward to having you on the show, my friend.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, brother. Take care. Without further ado, you know what? I feel like now this is the problem. I am frozen in carbonite, so I am going to be the voice of God, as they say in the business. And not to take away anything, the voice of God. That should not be used. That should not be used. But I tell you, I'm going to bring on Suds, Todd Sedlak. Todd, thanks for joining the show this evening.
Sorry.
Todd, see, this is what happens when I don't have a fucking producer working behind the scenes for me.
Where's Matt Rooney when you need him, huh?
Exactly. But the good thing is you could still hear me. I don't need to be seen. I just need to be heard. As
That's
well
right.
as all you guys as my guests on the show tonight. So, Matthew, welcome to the show.
Suds.
Matthew, Suds. Damn it, man. You got me thinking about Matthew Rooney, the other producer. But Suds, again, thank you for your support and joining the show tonight. You are the reason why we are here. You were the one that said you were available. Are you ready to talk about Ahsoka? And are you ready to give this a grade? Because I was telling Glenn Nelson, he's a school teacher. He's going to be joining us in a minute. My daughter just had her parent-teacher conference, and she got her little bit of progress report, if you will, for the first start of the year. Are you ready to grade Ahsoka?
Oh, yeah.
I know you got some things to say about this.
Yeah, but I'll give you a bit of a preview. It's not bad. I did not think the show was bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay,
so.
that is good to know, because we also have another special guest on the show tonight. Jesse. Jesse is essentially the groupie and the roadie for Glenn Nelson. Really good friends with Kevin Lyle and Glenn. And Glenn said, you got to have Jesse on the show because Jesse is a fan. He's a fan of the show. So I didn't want to just have the roast of Ahsoka, because this is a show that I like myself, you know?
Yeah.
But again, at the same time, I really want to have brother Kevin Lyle and brother Glenn Nelson on to voice their opinions, because I feel like some of these more negative opinions are not televised. They're more lost on the internet, Facebook, and the negative side of social media. But I would rather just have them on the show to talk about this. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my next guest, Mr. Kevin Lyle. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And had I known that Rich Brendel was German, I would not have been so rude to throw him into the green room. So, Rich, this one's for you. Prost, mein Cousin.
So, hey, you got to translate that for me, because I only know Morgen die Macht mit dir sein, and I need to ask you, what's in your glass?
My glass. This is a rump glass. This is the Obi-Wan Kenobi 77 rump glass. I have two. The better one is on a shelf somewhere, and this one I got us at Celebration in last year in Anaheim for $40. So I'm thinking, like, $40 I can drink out of it. But inside is a Tennessee whiskey called Dickel and Coke. And I actually bought it last week to go to see Ahsoka at Glenn's house on Tuesday night. And we got there, and he had beer and stuff and pizzas for everybody, so I didn't even need to bring this out. So I will thank Glenn for my drink tonight. Is that it? We're just going to talk about my drink? Is absolute silence.
I think Chris is having some technical difficulties.
Here, I'll take over. So, what you all think about? Well, I can't even do that.
You can't do that for very, very long because.
No, I don't know how he does it. And I think he's been doing it for 10 freaking years. I've known the guy since 2010. And I'm like, he's always sounded like that.
There you are.
You know what's funny? When you have technical difficulties, 30 seconds feels like 3 hours.
3 hours, yes. Yeah, that hour.
You know,
yeah, I've been there. I have definitely been there.
Kevin, of course, you've had your fair share of technical difficulties because you have been the host of many con panels. And I got to say, man, people got to check out the interviews that you did during the pandemic, the con panel, because that was a lot of fun for me to watch. Mm-hmm. You had some of your close friends on, and you could still watch that on YouTube, correct?
Yeah, no, they're all some are on YouTube, but they're all on Facebook. We have a Facebook page called The Con Panel, and the only thing really on it is videos from from COVID during that time period, that like 8-month period, where I reached out to friends of mine in the Star Wars business, and we just talked to them. We interviewed them. A lot of them had not been out for months. I had not been out for months, and actually the guy I interviewed with, Paul, he was kind of like my producer. He put the show together, and I couldn't have done it without him. I had not seen him that entire time. He came to my front yard, and he dropped a mic off, this old mic right here, and he dropped this off in my yard and left. And I didn't even talk to him. And then we just did it. And we did like 12 or 15 of them. And to be honest, I ran out of celebrities that I knew at the time. I've since met a bunch more as conventions came back and I started doing interviews again. But the main reason I did that was just I was bored and there was really nothing else to do. And I thought I didn't want to go a year without interviewing Star Wars actors, because that's like 20% of my business is going out on the road and at conventions and interviewing Star Wars celebrities, and sometimes celebrities from different genres. But who cares? I just like interviewing Star Wars people.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. But I love what you did during the pandemic, and that was exactly how this show had started. And I want to bring my next guest to the. I should have introduced him first because he's really contributed a lot to my film projects. And he's a Patreon member.
I did your damn poster, man. I did your poster.
You did too, but you know what? I feel like Glenn should have had top billing tonight.
But he didn't. But he freaking didn't. Just let everyone know that Glenn and I are very good friends. He lives like, he lives about 40 miles away from me.
That's why I could say that. And that is why we can talk about Ahsoka the way that we're going to talk about it tonight. But Glenn, you reached out to me because you were on our first Ahsoka show, where Ahsoka was kind of the we were just getting into Ahsoka, and I'm like, I don't want to cover Ahsoka every week like Rebel Force Radio is going to do. Let's just have like a kickoff show, and you were part of that. And you said, hey man, if you do a wrap-up show, let me know. So like Sud saying he was available tonight as a producer, you said that you wanted to be on the Ahsoka wrap-up show, so I thank you guys for the inspiration and the timing, as well as Kevin Lyle being available to do this show. Again, man, thank you guys so much. And Glenn, I want to introduce this guy. You got to remind me. I want to say he's almost family of yours, isn't he? Jesse. Jesse, I've had many drinks with him at. Not Star Wars Celebration, but ICCC. Hey, Jesse, what's in the bottle? I should say what's in your glass, but what's in the bottle tonight?
Drinking Berry Monkey from the Victory Brewing Company.
Victory's good. Glenn, what are you drinking tonight?
Fruited sour.
Well, my goblet tonight is a licensed, OT goblet, and as you can see, there's Darth Vader and his son Luke Skywalker, and over here there's Luke Skywalker from Empire and Yoda And over here is more Darth Vader and more stormtroopers. Wait a minute. I just realized something. Star Wars isn't patriarchy. Ah!
You sexist. You sexist. You should go to millennial jail or whatever the hell they thought those people go.
Yeah,
I'm thinking a nice IPA.
I feel like they got rid of being canceled. I feel like there was this era where there was like this week or two where people were being canceled. Then they stopped with that. Then everybody's coming back. I really wanted you guys to be part of this roundtable tonight because I know. Look, as somebody that did a reality show, I don't want to fabricate drama by any means. But what I do want to do is I definitely wanted to get two sides of this, and I think we really have this on this virtual con panel, if you will, Kevin. Suds, I forgot to ask you. Are you drinking tonight, or did you take a bag full of gummies instead?
No gummies tonight. I am. Let's see if I can do this without my hands twitching. I am drinking out of
the glass itself.
Yep. 312 Goose Island 312.
Hey, you know what? Let's see that glass. People can get this.
Yeah, let's talk more about who gives a fuck what he's drinking. Look at that pint glass he's drinking out of. That is a beautiful, beautiful goblet. It's like, it reminds me of the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when they're looking for like that most perfect goblet for him to choose, and that's the one he chooses. It's just beautiful, beautiful. Where could you get something like that? It is awesome.
I believe you can get it from North Legion.
Yeah, we have like 2,000 of them in the warehouse. Oh, look, Glenn. Oh, wow, look, Jesse's got one too.
I think I got the shirt, but I don't have the glass, but I do have the shirt.
I'll send you one, Mark.
All right, I would appreciate it. I would appreciate that very much. All right, hey, let's get into this, because our listeners and our viewers really want to know what you guys think of Ahsoka. I want to hear what they think, what they think of Ahsoka. You know what? I'm going to start it off. I'm going to grade this a B. I'm going to grade this a B+. I'm going to grade it because I like the music. The acting, I thought, was some of the best in the Star Wars live-action shows. And it truly, truly did feel like Star Wars. Now, a lot of people said, Chris Mont, how are you going to go into this without any knowledge or minimal knowledge of the Clone Wars? How are you going to go into this without finishing Rebels? And I said, you know what? Maybe that is going to help me figure this out. And to tell you the truth, I did not feel like I was disconnected from the show because of my lack of the clone knowledge on the Clone Wars, or only watching half of the Rebels show. But I really, really did enjoy it. I felt like there were some blue ball moments. As my producer, Brandon Wolgast, had said, there were a lot of blue ball moments. I felt like the season finale felt like a season finale, but it was just, it almost felt too much like a season finale. Like, okay, there is going to be a part 2. But you know what? I really enjoyed it. Was it my favorite of the TV shows? No. Kevin, I want to start with you, with your grading on this, even though I should let Nelson surpass you in billing. I'm busting balls here. Kevin, what did you grade this? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it?
Well, if I had to give it the A, B, and C you did, I probably would give it a C+.
No, you could even give it an F if you wanted to.
No, I'm not going to give it an F. I don't know. I don't think it was horrible. I don't think it was. There's been shows that were bad, and there's shows that are great. And I think this is more on the good half. I did enjoy it. I liked it. I think it stretched out a lot. I think there was a lot of wasted time. I mean, they should have got to where they were going a little bit quicker. I just think there's a lot of dead moments. There was a lot of, they got to the new galaxy and just things kind of were flat and she's walking through the desert and she sees Ezra, and that was kind of flat. And I just think that they could have pepped it up a little more. I think a script doctor or somebody could have come in there and written a little bit more action, something a little bit more to speed it along. And I also think that entire story could have been told in less episodes. And I think it dragged out a little bit. And I didn't like Thrawn. I thought Thrawn was pretty bad.
Okay.
And if you're going to bring a character like Thrawn into a story, you got to knock it out of the park. And I don't think they did. I don't think that character. No offense to the actor, but I just don't think. It may be a case that someday down the road I'm interviewing the guy, but I got to be honest. I don't know. I don't know if he. Carrie Fisher was a wonderful actress. She did a great job. Playing Leia. Of course, she could never pull off Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. And it's just I don't know. I don't know if he was right for that part. And
I didn't necessarily have a problem with Thrawn, but I will say that there were a couple moments, like you said, flat. And Craig chimed in earlier, said, "Hey, how about those Rays?" Let me tell you, flat is the Rays in Game 1 and 2 of the Wild Card Series. That was some flat ass baseball.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but please continue.
But I got to tell you, as far as flat in Ahsoka, yeah, I did feel like there were some good moments, but then they would bring you down, and then they would drag it out, and then it would be flat, and then they'd bring you back up, and then they'd drag you down. I felt like it wasn't like this. There was definitely no build-up to the finale. It was like, hey, we got 7 episodes or whatever. We got to wrap this up. Let's, I will say too that, why do I forget his name? And you guys got to forgive me because we've only seen this, maybe a couple times.
When you said he, there's not many in it. So there's only 2 guys in the whole freaking show. Ray Stevenson and Mickelson.
There you
yes. So, I felt like they were going to do something more with this character. I was waiting for the payoff, and it never happened. And because he had passed away during the production of this, I don't know what they're going to end up doing with this character, because by the time they got to the end of the series, they just kind of left his character hanging out in the open. So again, the blue ball moments, that should have been the drinking word of the night, blue. I feel like there were some flat moments, and I felt like they left us hanging. Suds, I'm going to spin it back to you, because I know you did like this show, and then we'll go to Glenn, and then we'll go to Jesse. But Suds, what grade would you give this? What did you like? What did you not like about this show?
Well, I would give it a solid B. A solid B. Not an A. That's just because I've got a pretty high bar to give any piece of content an A. And Ahsoka, while really good, just didn't meet it. I'm with Kevin on Thrawn. The way, if you've read the books, the original Zahn Thrawn trilogy, and then even the newer ones, the way he is on the written page was nothing like how he appeared on screen, as far as his dialogue and his supposed strategic genius and everything else that surrounds that character. That I don't blame the actor for. I think that's a writing and directing issue with respect to Thrawn's character. Just one example I would give is in the finale when they're leaving Peridia. Ezra is able to jump on the Star Destroyer from the temple or whatever that was, that platform they were on. Why didn't he just close the cargo bay doors? He's a strategic genius. Oops, I forgot to close the doors. So
yeah, I felt like that was strange. I also felt like it was strange when they were all using the Force together. I'm like, I've never seen everybody used the
Oh,
Force
they've
together.
I'm not surprised you've never seen that because they did that trick a few times in Rebels.
So
That
was the
whole
throwback?
where the push pull
Yeah.
between Sabine and Ezra, that was I believe what you call it was a direct lift from Rebels. Now, as far as what I really did like, I loved Balin's skull. I really liked it. Ray Stevenson did a phenomenal job of portraying the character, and while with the actor passing away, it limits the possibilities of what they can do with him. In the finale, it wasn't just kind of a blue balls moment, and Chris, I'm not picking on you. If you had seen the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars, the statue that he was standing on was the statue of the father. In the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars, you come across the father, the son, and the daughter. The son represents the dark side of the Force. The daughter represents the light side of the Force, and the father is the balance between them, keeping them from being too strong over one another. So that's the statue that he was standing on at the end of that. And if you notice that, you could see the statue of the son next to him, and the statue of the daughter is on his other side, but she's missing her head. So there's been a lot of speculation around what that means. In the Mortis arc, Ahsoka was named the daughter, so there was a lot of talk around that. But in general, I really like the show. The visuals were out of this world, and the score was really great, and I was really pleased with it.
Glenn, I want to ask you because let's do a little bit of a organic segue here because so just ended it on the music. I had commented on the music. How did you feel about the music? My only complaint was that they only used the Force theme once, and it was in the finale. One of the things that I did like about Rebels was they used a lot of the original score. I don't feel like it was a copyright issue because they could have used it, but I did feel like it felt like Star Wars as far as the music goes. What do you think about the music?
Yeah, and they only used the Force theme when Sabine was learning to use the Force. Anyway, the problem not problem, because Kevin Kiner did a brilliant job on the music. I stand by that 1,000%. But the thing about the Ahsoka melody is really only 3 notes, so it's really only. That's what it's like. And then he can change the harmony. And then at the end, he kind of goes major, like. He was sort of like implying that like it was kind of a happy ending. But that's not really. I kind of want. I want to come on the show because I wanted to make sure that I bookended my comments because I felt really negative the first time, but I was being totally honest. And so I just want to speak to those few points very quickly. And I don't want to nitpick this show. I just want to talk about how the show made me feel because as we all know how important Ahsoka is, we've covered that quite a bit. So, Kevin and I were 6 years old in 1977 when Star Wars came out. I'll make this brief, but we were steeped in George Lucas magic and Steven Spielberg magic our whole lives. And so we're blessed to have that. And we even got the incredible blessing of the prequels. And so we got to do it again. And I think the only thing I didn't hate the prequels, the only thing I hated sort of was them changing the Force, changing it to midi-chlorians. Because again, I've often said this, that the Force was a religion to me as a kid growing up. I didn't have church, I had Star Wars. And that taught me morality and right from wrong and good versus evil. And then when I had kids of my own, George Lucas gave us the Clone Wars. In the Clone Wars, I got to raise my kids to the Clone Wars. Thank God for that. And that was their entryway into Star Wars. And what a show it was. Pure George Lucas magic with a young Dave Filoni, the apprentice and the master. And we had it so good for those 5 seasons. Ahsoka is popular because of the Clone Wars, and it was such a popular, well-written show, at least with Star Wars fans. And I've often said Ahsoka should have died in that show. That's why I wrote The Fate of Ahsoka. I think it's ironic that we still don't know the fate of Ahsoka, and I honestly don't think we ever will. But the George Lucas magic was all over the Clone Wars. Rebels was Filoni's show, and while I really like Rebels, and Jesse can speak more of Rebels, because that was his favorite show. I don't want to misquote Jesse, but my favorite part of Rebels was all the throwbacks to Clone Wars and all the loose story ends. Those were and the OT. Those were always my favorite moments of that show. So my concerns with Ahsoka was that it was going to be Rebels season 5, and it was going to focus on Sabine Wren, and that kind of came true. That kind of happened. We have the elephant in the room is the whole show is for girls and women. It's marketed towards them. It is. And so I'm not going to knock that because that's Kathleen Kennedy's thing right now. But I am going to knock it a little bit because it's guys like Kevin and and Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau and us, everybody that's listening to this podcast, who got Star Wars across the finish line and lit the torch, and so that it could live on forever. It's a male property. It belonged to us originally. So I had to go with the fact that it was a girl show. I got over it. I also got over the fact that it's not actually X-Team. I did finally fall in love with Rosario Dawson. She is a good actress, and I do buy Ahsoka now. The voice bothered me, but now I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I really am. And I'm sure Ashley will be fine, and it will be more animated Ahsoka. Anyway, the show is very, and I'm getting my final point here. The show felt like Rebels season 5, and as such, my favorite moments were OT, the Clone Wars, George Lucas references. But I feel like we're getting really far from the sun. Like if George Lucas is the sun, we're out on like Pluto and going into like the Kuiper Belt. There's not a lot of light left from that star. Like we're kind of running out of juice here. So it needs new blood. Very quickly, the movie that just came out, Gareth Edwards, the creator, very creative, very innovative, very imaginative, new. And that's why we love Rogue One. A new look at Star Wars, completely new vision, new director. So I hope that happens in the future. We get more of that and less of just what it is now. And also one crazy wild fan theory that I like is that maybe Filoni is setting up a universe in which Ahsoka can be in over here with the Force planet and her new Force friends, and Luke can form an Avengers-style battle against Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Star Wars galaxy. Wouldn't that be cool? That they can bring back Luke Skywalker. It's really the only thing left to do, and they have to do it. And if they did it, that would make up for some of what we had to deal with the sequel trilogy. Amen to that. And cheers to that, boys. Cheers to that.
Hey, cheers to that. Amen to that. Glenn, what grade do you give this?
C plus.
C plus.
B minus.
Couple thoughts that I want to bring up. Based on what you said, I did not feel like it was necessarily a girls' show.
Were you watching the same show we were watching?
I was.
They literally had episodes where only 2 men spoke, and both of them were minor villains. This show was totally, and I'm fine with the fact that it's a girls' show. It doesn't bother me at all. Even though if you go to fucking Celebration, whether it's in London or Anaheim or next year in fucking Japan, you're going to go on the floor of Celebration and you're going to see 85% of the people there are fucking men. That's a fact. That's a goddamn fact. Count the women on the floor. And I don't mean to be rude or anything like that, but
Kevin,
of that 15% that's women, how many of them came with their freaking husband? Because they told their husband, you're not going to freaking London without me, or you're not going to Anaheim without me, or some shit like that. That being said, they went off and made a fucking girls show, and then Acolyte's also going to be a girls show. But when they do The Mandalorian and when they do The Force Awakens, the bitches come out and say, Star Wars is for everybody. Star Wars is for everybody. What if there's a fucking girls show, when is there going to be a guy show? When is the guy show coming out? It's never coming out until these fucking assholes get fired. That's my point. That's my true Star Wars thought. I didn't hate Ahsoka. I just don't like most of what Lucasfilm is doing. But I think Ashley and the rest of the cast did their job, fantastic. And God, these two guys, Jess and Glenn, will tell you, I fucking love Shin Hati. I think she's fantastic.
Oh yeah. And she's appropriately named too. Hottie.
Well, that's what I was on another podcast a couple of weeks ago. That was it's a military podcast, and both of us agreed there's a military term called shit hot, and that's what we thought she was from. Shit hot, Shin Hati, and
could be.
But again, like I think it's fine if they want to make a show for girls, and if they want to make another show for girls and call it Acolyte, that's fine. Where's the show for guys? Because everything else is Star Wars is for everybody. And then in a celebration, they wheel out all these freaking people that don't look like the audience. Because, next time you're at Celebration, turn around and take a picture. Because guess what? These 5 guys right here, you see right here, this is what Celebration looks like. 4 fucking middle-aged men and a fucking millennial. That's what you see. You'll see 10% is going to be Jesse, and the rest is going to be us.
You know what? That is true. That is true, and I'm not going to use the B word, the but word, because it cancels out everything you said. And
What word?
I'm not going to cancel out everything you said. Oh. When I was watching the show, I realized that it was women heavy. When this whole women movement started with episode 7, Kevin, you got a daughter. I got a daughter. You know what? I always felt like Star Wars has been following me since I was since that movie came out on my 2nd birthday. And then here I am, George Lucas sells it to Disney. I'm like, my life has already been changed by Star Wars. How can I connect with this any further? And they're like, hey, we're going to give you Rey, a female character. And I'm like, oh shit, I got a daughter. I don't have a son. But here's the thing. My daughter is distant from Star Wars. God bless her for this. She goes, Daddy, I know all about Star Wars as much as I need to know. But she goes, I'm not drawn into it because it's violent. And I'm like, okay, it is violent, but it's more than that. There's good and evil, storytelling, that sort of thing. But I feel like because I have if I did not have my daughter, I probably would feel like, hey, what is with all the ladies throughout Star Wars, starting with episode 7? I don't believe that is necessarily the thing that's making me. That is not the thing that's making me shrug my shoulders. I think the fact that, here's the thing. I felt like the acting was good, but I felt like Ahsoka's voice in the Clone Wars, from what I know, had more moxie than what the actress brought to the table. I feel like she might have been overrated with the acting, and maybe we're accepting that because it is Ahsoka. And here's the thing, too. It's called Ahsoka. It's going to be women heavy for sure. I'm not disagreeing with you. I am just, you know what? Again, we're agreeing to disagree on this show.
What are you? You're disagreeing with me? How could you possibly disagree with what I just said? What I just said is a fact. If you add up all the words spoken by a woman in this show, you're dealing with 85% of the dialogue. Then you go to something like The Mandalorian, and it's like 50-50. 50% male, 50% woman. All I'm saying is, where's the man show? Where's the show for guys? Because this is what's paying for it. If guys stop watching this show, they go bankrupt. Lucasfilm goes bankrupt, and Disney sells it. Disney will just break it up into different divisions, and sell it. If guys stop watching it. If girls stop watching it, who cares? What? What?
If Disney broke it up into different divisions, then the franchise is just getting kind of dragged through the cheese grater, for sure,
Well, what I'm saying is if guys stop watching it, there will be no franchise. There'll be no money coming in.
I can't disagree with that. I mean, I think Ashley.
Thank you. Next question. Go on to Jesse. Thank you. Go on to Jesse now. Jesse, hey Jesse, welcome to Machtails with the Cantina. What was your impression of the show?
I had a bet with myself what the over under was on Kevin taking over the show.
Jesse, I don't want to hear from you for sure, because I know you enjoyed this show, but here's the thing. Ashley Eckstein had to come out. She had to come out and say, and she said it in my film, Star Wars is not just for men and boys. It's for women too. The women needed Ashley Eckstein to come out with the clothing line and to do that. I mean, primarily, Kevin, you are 100%, 85% of the fan base is male, for sure. And a lot of those wives are there because their husbands or their boyfriends brought them there. Not that that's a bad thing, you know. I don't think if Star Wars is 85% males, it's not a bad thing. Here's the thing. I think we got the boy show with Obi-Wan, but then they brought the females into that a little bit. Same with Andor.
A little bit.
There's
a little bit. I hate to do this again, but like when he was in that Inquisitor in that Inquisitor building. Okay, he is there. He's trying to save a girl. He's being helped with another girl. He's being chased by another girl, and then this person comes up to save him in some snowspeeder. And guess what? Oh my God! It's a girl.
What about Wade?
Okay, so it's not Andor or Kenobi was the man show. It wasn't. It was there was just as many women as there were men. Go on. I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off, but you told me to be honest, and you wanted my opinion. So here it is.
I told you. Be careful what you wish for, man.
Hey, this is Machtails from the Cantina, and I definitely want you guys to be open and honest, and you are, and I respect that and appreciate that. Here's my theory too. On they even brought in, they got rid of the religious aspect on the good side. Glenn, I know you were telling you didn't have religion, you had the Jedi as that religion when you were growing up. I felt like there was an element of witchcraft in this show that I have never seen in Star Wars. And witchcraft has always kind of creeped me out a little bit. And seeing that in Ahsoka, though, as much as a witchcraft kind of creeps me out a little bit, and it is October, right? It is the season of the witch, as they say, stereotypically, if you will. But there was something about that element that I really, truly enjoyed in this show. I did like that element. Thrawn being flat, maybe, again, the actor was good, but you know what, Suds, you said if you read the novels, dude, I haven't read those fucking novels since 1992, man. I mean, I forgot what kind of character Thrawn is because I haven't read those books in so long. Jesse,
I don't think. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Jesse said anything.
No, Jesse, I apologize, man. Jesse, welcome to the show, first and foremost. And thanks for being here. Glenn, you guys are family, right? You're connected through an in-law, or a marriage of some sort, if I'm not mistaken.
Sort of, yeah. It's just a small world, man. And I feel like people like us are destined to meet each other no matter what. And Jesse is such a heavy caliber Star Wars fan that he can hang with anybody, literally anybody. So I want him to do all the talking so you can see what a Star Wars brain this kid has. He knows every Star Wars book, every Star Wars comic, every character's name, and can go toe-to-toe with Kevin Lyle, with trivia. So, Jesse, take it away, man.
Yeah, usually me and Kevin are the ones walking into the trivia contest and walking out the champions. So, I really like this show. I probably give it a C. I have two huge issues with the show right off the rip, which is I still do not like Rosario's Ahsoka. It's totally, she loses the magic from Ashley for me. I don't like the voice. I don't like how brooding she is. I struggle with that. So in a show about Ahsoka not selling for me is an issue. And the young Ahsoka in the flashback still didn't feel like Ashley to me. So that was a problem. My other issue was Sabine, the whole her being a force sensitive thing. I just don't like that story thread because, as they alluded to earlier, my favorite show is Rebels. I've seen it so many times. And one of the huge plot threads in Rebels was that Sabine had to give up the Darksaber because she wasn't force sensitive. She, and Kanan, Ezra, Ahsoka, nobody ever saw force powers in her. So I struggle with those two things a lot. I personally love Thrawn because as a Rebels fan, the voice is right there. So it sold me, and I found him to be scary, and I really liked him. So overall, to me as Rebels fan, as Glenn was saying, this felt like Rebels season 5, but it felt drawn out and slowed down to the point where it was like Rebels season 1 for me. It didn't have the pacing and the speed and a lot of the like just thing after thing after thing that's blowing your mind for me. And then there's the epilogue. So in Rebels, at the epilogue, Ahsoka and Sabine are going off to find Ezra. So this show, based years later, because that didn't work out, it took 4 episodes to get us back to where we began at the end of the epilogue that we had already seen years ago. So it kind of seemed like it was spinning its wheels, and it just didn't really know where it wanted to go. However, visually it was Star Wars. The music was there. Every episode I did enjoy. I've watched them all multiple times, and I think the casting was incredible. I still think Sabine's casting was amazing. I think Hera's casting was amazing. I love Thrawn. It's pretty much everybody but Ahsoka. And Baylan Skoll was wonderful. Shin Hati was great. Just all the characters in the show really, really, really landed for me all throughout.
Well, it sounds more like you are grading this a B based on all your positive thoughts about it, but I think your deep feelings graded as C. But I mean,
it's hard
positive about the show overall,
I am. It's called Ahsoka. It's more Rebels than it is Ahsoka to me. I really think.
Yeah, sure.
And but it's slow Rebels. It's not the season 3, season 4.
I've mentioned this before. Don't you think that they need to quit naming these shows after characters? I mean, we had Kenobi, we had Andor, Ahsoka. Yeah. It's like, because the show is more than just that character, I don't think they should be naming it after a fucking character.
Especially name. Andor, and because Andor had a lot more going on than just him.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What would you have named Ahsoka? If we don't want to name it after the character,
Rebel.
If you can go a whole episode without having the character in it, like they did for Ahsoka and they did with Boba Fett,
right?
You should probably come with something else. Right. What would I call Ahsoka other than what it's called? I don't
Rebels.
Rebels season 6.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have a feeling that a lot of people really liked Rebels, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is Rebels 2.0 or what have you." So it's like, if this is Rebels 2.0, but it's still a C, what's wrong with that? You know what I mean?
I think it's funny how the three of us, Glenn, Jess, and I, who are close Star Wars friends here in Connecticut, we gave it a C. And I guess you two Illinois guys gave it a little bit higher. Did you give it a letter grade, Chris?
I gave it a B.
Yeah, so both you guys gave it a B.
Yeah.
You and Todd gave it a B, and the three of us gave it a C. Which I was surprised that Jesse gave it less than us. I thought Jesse liked it more than I did, but he gave it less than Glenn. Glenn and I both gave it a C plus, I believe.
Yeah.
I feel like Jesse said a lot more positive things about the show than you, but I feel like deep in his heart, he was still wanting more. And now here's the thing, because you guys, hey, look, I'm an old fucking fuck that lost interest in the animation stuff. I'm a little bit more of a Star Wars poser at this point. Can't remember characters' names. Can't remember characters.
The last episode.
Can't remember actors' names. Can't remember character names. In this new wave of Star Wars that we are in, But I feel. Do you feel like because you guys were so tuned in with the Clone Wars and Rebels that you guys, you were tuned in, you gave it a B, but for you guys out on the East Coast, do you feel like that kind of, didn't meet your expectations because of that?
They just keep changing the rules of the galaxy, and I don't know. I'm not afraid of change. It's not like Well, I mean, it's like we had certain rules about how the Force works. That's
Right.
not how the Force works.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
That's
Right.
not how any of this works.
It's like there's just and like now anyone can be a Jedi because she identifies as a Jedi. Is that why?
Oh God.
I wouldn't go in that goes. I just figured that she had the potential.
Right.
Ahsoka saw it in her and just knew she had to break that barrier. I mean, nothing she did made me think that she was Obi-Wan or Luke, or she had great power. She had enough power. And I was concerned she was going to turn around and like bring the Star Destroyer to the ground and just do all this stuff that we wanted Luke Skywalker to do, which of course he didn't. And if Chris, you want to see me go off on a tangent, the sequel trilogy makes me so angry. I can't even think about it. But
I have an idea for a Star Wars show.
Oh, here we go.
Are you sitting down?
Yes.
I think it's a great idea. Here we go. Ready? Here's my pitch.
Mhm.
The Adventures of Luke Skywalker. Yes. Why is that so hard to figure out?
Well, it's the recasting issue. They're concerned about the fans won't accept recasting Luke. Well, we will certainly accept him being a loser living on an island as a coward. We'll accept that, but we won't accept the recasting. I would gladly take I don't know, anybody, Jerry Seinfeld playing Luke Skywalker rather than the bullshit we got in the sequel trilogy. I hate those movies. I just can't even stand it.
But hey, I gotta bring it back because we're talking about Ahsoka and we're almost out of time. What I'm assuming, I don't have time to stay in tune with all the shit that is going on right now, and half the gossip and half the rumors. I stay away from that in the Star Wars world and the baseball world because half that 90% of that doesn't come true. But I would assume that this show is not over and that it's going to go on. There's got to be a season 2. And if you guys tell me there's not going to be a season 2, then I'm going to probably rate this an F minus because you can't have the ending like they did and just end this story. I mean, that would be super, super disappointing. What is the future of Ahsoka? What are your expectations and how do you feel about it moving forward?
That's an interesting question because at this stage for The Mandalorian, they'd already greenlit a season 2. And at this stage for Andor, they had already greenlit a season 2. Andor was greenlit before it even started, before it even premiered. They said we were getting a second season. So that's kind of funny that we've heard nothing as far as a second season for Ahsoka. But I think the pandemic, which it's been a couple years since then, that did really bring things back. Scheduling wise, and also the writer's strike and the actor's strike, which the actor's strike is still currently going on. I think that might have slowed things down, but I think there definitely will be a season 2 of Ahsoka.
There has to be, and I think you're right, Kevin. I think the only reason why we haven't gotten any sort of announcement about the season 2 yet is because of first and foremost, the writer's strike, because you can't shoot anything if you don't have a script. And usually it's the script that comes first. And now you've got the actor's strike still going on. So
the one things I have heard from the people I know who are filming and stuff in those in the films, and I know a lot of them. I know not a lot, but I know some. Is that it's Acolyte and Skeleton Crew are done, and they've been done a while, but they're delaying the release of them because the time between now and new stuff after those 2 properties is way into the future. Ahsoka and Mandalorian season season 4 now? That's going to be quite a ways into the future. Probably 2 years from now. So the 2 shows they have in the can, they've got to stretch those out. I think. Skeleton Crew was going to come out in November, and now it's coming out in January, is what I'm hearing.
That's what I just saw, too,
I'm going to start. You know what? I thought the writing strike was over. Was it? Did it?
The writing strike just ended, but you've got to think that that 4 months the writing strike started long before the acting strike. So that's 4 or 5 months that people weren't writing.
Sure, absolutely. And
Which we all
you
know.
guys
We all know
wrong.
they were writing. Any artist is going to be on the side doing their work anyway for free, in
Right.
hopes that when it ends, they can get paid quickly.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
Glenn, would you like to see season 2, or do you feel like, you know what, I've seen enough, let it end where it ended?
Well, where's it going to go at this point? The story's in such a strange place now. I thought they were setting up a movie. That's what I thought, and I don't think we know the answer to that question. I think I am going to unsubscribe from Disney Plus though. At the end of the month, when it's going up 43%. Does that make any sense at all for no content? There's at least a year of no Star Wars coming out. I don't think Kevin's right. I don't think we're seeing Skeleton Crew. I think that was some fake thing that was on, our.
No, actually, that was announced. Skeleton Crew was announced. It is coming out
really? Well,
in January.
I have no interest.
Yeah.
I really don't care. I don't care, and I'm not spending $160 for one show.
So, Glenn, you can come to my house. You can come down to my house to watch Skeleton Crew.
We'll just binge it in one night. We'll just binge it at someone's house in one night, and have a great party. Like, it's kind of my little mini protest too. I just don't like the way that they're running business. I hate to, I'm not going to say anything charged. It's just I don't like the way Disney's running and doubling their prices on their most loyal fans. That's your solution to fix your problem. I just don't. I think I'm out. Right. I'm out. I'm not kidding. I'm pulling the plug on that and Hulu. I'm just pulling the plug. I don't watch it. I don't watch Disney Plus. I didn't watch Visions 2, and I didn't watch the Young Jedi Adventures. I'm going to say it. I don't feel like Star Wars is for me anymore. Not right now.
What about all those classic Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse shows from yesteryear that we grew up on, man? I mean, that's.
I do have to admit, Visions was the first time there was any kind of animation or live action Star Wars stuff that came out that I did not see. I saw the first 3 or 4 episodes of Visions, and I couldn't watch anymore. I was like, this is just so annoying and boring. I never watched the second season, and then they came out with some other 3D Star Wars show, and I didn't watch that. And it's just and this is me. I mean, I built my whole life around Star Wars, not just as a fan, but professionally. This is what I do for a living. And to turn me off on it, what do you do? How could you possibly do that? But they did it. They did it.
How did we get here? When this was, it was so quick to get here to anger all your fans, to really just alienate your entire fan base. And I feel like a grumpy old man, and I guess maybe I am. But that's how I feel.
And I know, and I do know from what I know anyway, that Lucas was like, hey, I'm not going to make any more Star Wars films, because when the prequels came out, even though we praise them now and we're pining for them now, because that is George, there was a lot of negativity in the media and the press. This is before social media, that was based around those releases. I enjoyed them when they came out. I still love them now. And he sold it to Disney. Did Disney really think about, like, hey, we have a fan base here that we can piss off? Or did they think the more Star Wars stuff that we can cram down people's throats, which I feel like, look, Tyler Page has called me out for this. But is there such thing as too much Star Wars?
Yes.
I do believe there could be, because we are old school. We grew up every 3 years there was a film. Every 3 years there was a celebration. Now it's like Star Wars. There's no time to fucking breathe with all the Star Wars that they're cramming down our throat, and with all the announcements that they're making. Are they going to be able to fulfill all that? And why do they need to let us know that they're making 20 more Star Wars projects for the future? Why can't we just enjoy what they put out when they put it out? Don't force it. Don't cram it down our throats, I feel like Dave Filoni knows what he's doing with Star Wars. And I know that sounds crazy coming from me, because I was not a Clone Wars junkie, but I do appreciate his authenticity. And you guys know as much as I do, even more so, that Filoni is a guy that could carry the torch. But if we get people like Kathleen Kennedy with an agenda getting in the way, they're going to piss people off like Kevin Lyle and the rest of the people.
I'm sorry.
It can be a complicated thing. It really, really can be.
Dave's part of it too because he couldn't kill Ahsoka, and he should have done that.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I'm against any idea of there being Jedi running around the galaxy saving the world post Return of the Jedi when it should be just Luke. And Glenn and I have talked about this when before Rebels came out. They had a panel at New York Comic Con. This is back like in 2014. And Pablo Hidalgo, I almost said Pablo Escobar, but anyway, Pablo Hidalgo
Close enough.
Gave a presentation about the new show and showed us some new images and some pictures. And he goes, we have two Jedi in the show, a master and a Padawan, and we do understand that at the time of Return of the Jedi that Luke is the final Jedi, and we will acknowledge that in this show. And then Glenn and I both said at the end of Rebels, we're like, well, they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. And then there's more Jedi living during the time of Luke Skywalker and the Rebellion than I can personally name during the movie Attack of the Clones. I mean, it's just
Jesse can do it. Jesse, do it. Go.
Yeah, well, I have an issue with the fact that the show opened up and Ahsoka's never been explained as, she left the Jedi Order and then she was off doing her own thing in the galaxy. And it's like, then she pals up with Huang, who's like the ancient Jedi droid, and now she's a Jedi again, but that doesn't get explained. And I waited 8 episodes to get some explanation of why she took on a Padawan, why, just why, how did we get here in the story? And they never explain it. They end the show right where they began. And, she's a full-fledged Jedi with a Padawan, but there's no reason why. It's a weird way to do television, I think. It's just episode after episode.
Well, I think that could, Jess, and I'm surprised you and I have not had this conversation before, because that's a good point, but I think it could be explained in the fact that a crisis has happened, that the Jedi had fallen, and remember she was mad how the Jedi treated her, basically by the same people who ended up killing the Jedi did something bad to Ahsoka, which was the trial and the accusations that she went through at the end of the Clone Wars. So she, I think when the Jedi fell, she kind of like looked around and realized that no one was there to help, take up the mantle of the Jedi, and that she would do so. And that I'm fine with. But what they really should be explaining is what the hell was she doing for 19 years? Where was she when the Death Star was being built? Where was she when Darth Vader and Tarkin and all these people were going around the galaxy doing really horrible things? And Obi-Wan Kenobi, we understand, and same with Yoda. These were elderly gentlemen, and they couldn't fight anymore. But Ahsoka was literally in her prime during those years. And where was she? And I was always hoping they were going to, in this show, they might have done something where she was caught by a bounty hunter, and maybe she was put in carbonate, or she was put in some hyperspace thing, and she couldn't, in a jail or whatever. And they didn't explain it. She's just going around. She's fishing. She's getting her hair cut. She's doing whatever.
It was strange, though, because she's like, last time we see her in Rebels, I mean, not the last time, but pretty much the last time, she's going, I'm no Jedi, I gave that up, I did whatever. You're here, and she's like, I got a Padawan, I'm like, pushing
Is that closing music I'm hearing?
I know, is he playing us
Are we being kicked off the stage?
It is closing music, and the show's got to end sooner than later. And I'm wondering,
what the fuck? Yeah, fucking Rebel Force Radio is 2 hours. Yeah. I'm going back to Jason and Jimmy. What the fuck?
Go back to Jason and Jimmy. That is fine. That is what Rebel Force Radio. That is what Rebel Force Radio is for. This is Mocktails from the Cantina. This is an hour-long show. We have run over the hour long, but I want to thank my guests. I could not do this without you. Glenn, what were you holding up there? You got a little show and tell for us?
Lego Death Star.
Glenn, you are a Lego maniac, dude. I love seeing all your photos of all the shit you. How many Lego sets do you own?
I'm not as bad as some people do it. I'm just kind of a newbie, but I just like they're fun, man. It's like male therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Hey, do you do this just with the guys, or do you do this with your family as well? The kids get involved at all?
I do it near my family, but I'm not out. I'm not out. Gallivanting, so keeps me home.
That's
and
awesome.
with my family. So,
well, hey, Glenn, I want to thank you again for your contribution to all my projects, your contribution to this episode, and any live shows coming up people can get you at.
Yeah, I'm playing tomorrow in Rhode Island at noon. If anyone in the show Rhode Island, I'm playing at Autumn Fest, and I'm playing at some jazz in about a week at the Grindstone here in Collinsville, Connecticut. And you can see me with Jeff Pitchell, a famous regional blues musician. Thanksgiving and New Year's, all dates will be on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. So you can always, friend me up, and I'll be in touch. I'll only show you good stuff.
Man, there's a lot of gigs coming up, man. A lot of you got blues, jazz, and your own stuff as well. So, for you guys that are out on the East Coast, can you really go to all those states in like a day's time?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They all seem so small to me from somebody that's has not spent a lot of time.
Yeah, we have better pizza too, by the way.
Oh, hell
also,
no!
Chris,
Hell no!
Yeah.
I'm also playing I'm also playing a gig with an Alanis Morissette cover band. So, hey, by the way, Chris, it's out. Look, Trevor Rabin's new album Rio is out.
Yes, Trevor Rabin. Yes, I was listening to that music today.
I can't wait to play this in my car tomorrow. I still have a CD player in my car.
I got a CD player in my car. Still, we're two of the few. What do you rate that Trevor Rabin CD? I give that a fucking A+.
A+, dude. This thing, it is.
It's not even opened. It's not even opened. It's still got the wrap on it.
I've heard that. I just got this.
You haven't even.
I have it on vinyl and digital. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
The state's so small. Glenn and Kevin live across the state from me, and it's an hour and 15 minutes.
And we see each other almost every week.
It takes me an hour and 45 to get from my suburb of Chicago to Chicago. Jesse, I want to thank you for expressing your opinion on this show, and I look forward to seeing you at a convention sooner than later.
For sure. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, anytime, brother. Kevin Lyle, people can check out your very, very cool designs at Norse Legion. And what convention are you going to be on stage at next? What convention do you have coming up?
Well, I've got New York Comic Con is this coming weekend in New York City at the Javits Center. There's Thursday through Sunday. I'm at booth 1187, and it's on the far back wall. Easy to find. So we'll be there. Jess will be there with me. Hopefully Glenn will be there one of the days. And then I'll be doing panels at Rhode Island Comic Con at the Rhode Island in Providence, Rhode Island next month, the first weekend of November. I think it's the 4th to the 6th. I'll be hosting some panels there. We got a bunch of Star Wars guests. You can go on their website, Rhode-IslandComic-Con.com, I think, and then you can check it out. But so I got those two shows, and but yeah, New York this weekend definitely. When are you coming out, Mock? Are you going to come out and see any of our East Coast shows?
I would love to. The Rhode Island Comic Con, is that Eric Yako's convention?
He works there. I think he's the I forgot what he does there. He does something there. Yeah, he works there. He does. Yeah, he's been there at every show.
I know he's been with them for a long time. What Star Wars celebrity are you looking forward to interviewing on these next two shows coming up? Probably Carl Weathers, but I've interviewed him at that show before. But he's just he's always pretty cool to talk to because he's well the thing is the last time I interviewed him he was Apollo and he was Dylan from Predator. He was not in Star Wars yet, so I had interviewed him before he got a Star Wars gig. So I didn't even think. Don't tell him I said this, but I didn't even think to get his autograph. I'm like, I'm too busy. I can't do things. I can't go down to the autograph hall and get his autograph because I'm busy. But and then like a week later, he gets a part in Star Wars. I'm like, God, my God, what a! I actually have on Facebook. I have an album full of actors I've interviewed before they who were not Star Wars actors. But then eventually became Star Wars actors. I got Spencer Wilding. I've got the purple Twi'lek from The Mandalorian, whatever her name is, and then a couple others. That people who were actually in something else, and then they went off and became Star Wars actors. And I got to tell you, I got a chance to talk to Spencer at ICCC, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, I'm a friend of Kevin Lyles. do you mind talking to me for a couple minutes? And he was so gracious with his time. And then we got that really good photo of you. Who was it? I think Jesse might have been in that
Yeah,
photo.
you talking about the helicopter?
You guys looked like you were going to kill me.
I don't know. I thought you meant the helicopter ride, because Jess and I took a helicopter ride with Steven, with Spencer from Rogue One, Darth Vader from Rogue One, at IECCC in Nashville, which I'm hoping is coming back next year. There's no announcement for it yet, which is a little later than I thought it would be, but it'll be back, and it's a great show.
Yeah, okay, Kevin, we can make this a little bit of a Mocktails exclusive, because I know the MFTC community follows Michael Havens online, and we're wondering, is ICCC going to happen again? Can you make that confirmation that indeed it is going to happen again?
I can't see him not doing it. I'll be honest. He's never announced a show and told me beforehand. I usually find out the actors that are coming before they're announced, just because of my job there. I'm the main stage host. I interview everybody at those shows, which is probably why it's my favorite show I go to. But generally, I don't think I've ever found out about a show before the public does. He likes to keep that under wraps because of if this information gets out, hotel prices go up and things like that. So sure. Just as somebody who's a friend of Michael's and somebody who's gone to every one of his shows, I think he's going to have one next year. And if I had to guess, I would say he's probably going to have it at the same place because it went so well. But I don't know. I have not talked to him.
I put Republic
in a couple weeks.
Credits on it.
You're going to put some credits down on it?
You put the Republic credits
But
on it.
if you have some viewers that have not gone to ICCC, I would definitely recommend it. It's such a fun show. It's run by Star Wars fans. Mike likes to say it's not a Star Wars convention, and he gets a lot of actors that are not in Star Wars. William Shatner, the Daredevil himself, was there last year. And he's had other celebrities. But if you look at all the dealers and you look at everybody that's now on your screen here on YouTube, we're all Star Wars fans, and we all went and had a blast at that show.
We got some people flashing some credits. Now, because you guys are out on the East Coast, you guys got money on the Baltimore Orioles?
I don't bet on baseball because it's a stupid sport. But
hey, we got to remove him from the show.
I went to the World Series once, actually.
Remove him from the show. Hey, I want to thank Suds. Suds. Thank you again for producing the show.
Hey, you're welcome.
People could catch you once in a blue moon, but more than you and me on the Babu Freaks on Rebel Force Radio Patreon. We are glad to have you here a lot more than anywhere else on Mocktails from the Cantina, and I really appreciate you initiating this show tonight. And I want to thank all my guests, and I want to thank all my supporters tuning in tonight. Rich Brendel especially, cheering a beer. John Drake, who was supposed to join us on the show, but he just could not get through in the car. And producer Ian Savage joined the show. And Nikki Gamer, who was smoking what you guys are rolling. She gave this a C+. And when you guys were complaining about the script, she chimed in. AI script writing. So, you know what? I don't know.
That's my best friend, so be very, very careful with that. My best friend's wife, I should say.
Your best friend's wife. I wonder if she felt the same way about you saying that this was a completely woman-based show. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with what she said. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. I want to thank all my guests again for speaking the truth, being open-minded, and being open with the way that they felt about Ahsoka. I hope we get an Ahsoka season 2, because if we don't, I give this show an F-, and I have blue balls like you would not believe. Again, join me on Patreon, Mocktails from the Cantina on Patreon. $2 gets you in the door. $25 gets you a seat like producer Suds, and you can join the show on a monthly basis. Again, for my guests, I am your host, Chris Mock, and we will catch you guys next time on Mocktails from the Cantina Live, episode number 50. Who will it be? We'll catch you guys then. So long, everybody.